Hello everybody, Ken Faulkner with another video for my channel. This one is a unboxing. I actually had the patience, although it's only been a few hours since this arrived in the mail. But I had the patience to wait so I can unbox it. It's all sealed. No tape has been cut. If you're familiar with this company, you know what this is. You've got some stars up here. And it's a company that the names of the knives and the themes are related to constellations and things, astronomy type stuff. I'm not an expert at that kind of thing, but I really like when a knife company does a theme and kind of keeps with that, and then it all ties together. And I like this company. I have one knife from them, and I'm going to use that to unbox. And that would be the Solaris from Orion Knives. And this is a great knife. I really, really like it. It's button lock, got great action. So many things about this knife that I like because of my personal preferences. It's got the little constellation that you see right here on the blade of the knife. It's got a little pop of color. It's all blacked out. They have different versions of it, but they like to have these little pops of color, and there's like options to buy different kinds of pivot collars that you can change out and back spacers. But it's a real cool concept, and the man behind Orion Knives is David, and he has a YouTube channel. And if I heard his last name, I would recognize it because I've heard it before, but I can't think of it. And you know me with names. Anyhow, David, you may know him. Blade Banter is his channel. You can go check that out. And he also is behind Orion Knives. He's got a few designs out. The Solaris is one of them. And action, great. And he's got another one that's similar. I think it was a little bit smaller. I've seen it. I did skip on it. It's a little bit smaller, so it gets under my blade length interests. But it was called the Scorpio, and that's another one that's a well-known astronomy type thing. And this one here is his, as far as I know, as far as I'm aware, is his third knife that he's come out with recently. Saw it at Blade Show. He's usually at the QSP booth and working there, but he has some of his knives there. And I thought it was really cool. And didn't buy it right away, but man, I've been thinking about it for a while. So let's get into this box because I've been waiting for some time and I just couldn't wait any longer. And I'll tell you the story of that. So this week, Thursday was National Knife Day, and it kind of snuck up on me this year, and managed to notice a Blade HQ video, and they always like to have those good sales on National Knife Day. So I heard him talking about it. I go, oh man, National Knife Day. That is, if I've ever heard an excuse to buy a knife, it's having a national day for knives. So I'm telling my girlfriend, I'm sorry, you know, I know Blade Show West is coming up. I'm trying to save money, but it's a National Knife Day. I have to buy a knife. So this one is one that I've had on my mind for a while, and I went to buy it. I have a lot of knives on my mind all the time, and a lot of them I don't own. So there's always a list, and this one here, it just kept coming back to me. I would see it on videos, and it just kept coming back to me saying, man, there's just so much about this knife that I like. And this knife is called the Cetus, and that is an astronomy thing that I am not familiar with. I know that there's a little background story on the website. I just didn't do the research on it. You can take a look for yourself. I guess I'm just not interested enough in the astronomy related to the name, but I am definitely interested in this knife. So, getting through this little packaging here, and going to show you, if you haven't seen it before, I'm sure a lot of you have, it's been around for a while. A lot of people are getting it passed around and whatnot. But if you haven't seen it, and this is your first time, I'll tell you about what is exciting on this knife for me. Whoa, hang on. That was a little exciting. Speaking of exciting. All right, get this stuff all out of the way. Orion Knives. We already see popping out of the box as I'm dropping the knife is it has a spare clip. And I think I already know what the reason for that is. And we'll take a look at that as we open up the box. Got a nice little box here. Orion Knives. Limited warranty. Pretty standard stuff. And nothing on the back. And here's the knife. And this is the one that really spoke to me. Recently I did a video talking about wood handles. Now these are just kind of overlays, but it does have that wooden handle look. All blacked out, but then it has that wood overlay. That's very cool. So this is a great look for me. I really like it. And there's the clip that looks a lot like the other clip, but I think it's because of the angle of the clip on the scale, the way it goes in, that if you want to use it on the other side, which is an option, you need to use a different clip. So they throw that one in just for the lefties out there. Lefty love, it's always a good thing. And I'm a righty, so I'm going to be keeping it like this. It's got a nice little back spacer here, and it says Orion Knives on it. And let's flick this thing open. Now we got flipper, we got the hole, and let's flip it out. There you go. Now I've mentioned this in videos before, talking about, let me wipe this thing off, talking about knife shapes that I like, and just general shapes of knives, lengths of the blade, that kind of thing. And this one really kind of checked all those boxes for me. I have that arch all the way from the back of the knife to close to the end of the blade, and I love that shape. And the handle's good size. The Orion, or the Solaris is pretty thick in the handle, but I always have liked that. It's great because you can hold it, button lock. Now this one isn't a button lock, and it's not as tall in the handle, but it's still got some thickness to it, and it feels good in the hand. The thumb lands here. It just feels like you're ready to cut with this thing, almost like that kukri kind of shape with a forward cant dropping down. As you go into the cut, it's going to hold into that cut all the way through. So we got a 14C 28 end blade. We have a hollow grind. Not a super deep hollow, but there's definitely a hollow there. And feels nice and thin behind the edge. Maybe, I don't know, we'll have to see how that is. But yeah, it does feel thin behind the edge. I'm pretty sure that's going to cut pretty well. And the wood handles. Not full wood, but an overlay. And the good thing about that is that it has a frame lock that is kind of what I refer to as like a subframe lock. So when you're going to, let's see if we get the flick going here. Yeah, I got it. When you're flicking it out, there's not as much chance of you putting pressure on the lock bar. A little oil on it. Wipe that down. It's got a nice fuller all the way up the blade here, off of the hole. So, you know, this is first impression. It usually takes a little while to get used to it, but you can probably, you can flick it down a little bit lower on the fuller. You can flick it up higher. That feels good. It's got that Orion star constellation thing going on here. You can see it on the end of the blade. So David from Blade Banter, he is a knife reviewer, and you see a lot of the reviewing of knives put into the making of knives, like people like Lefty, like KC, people that make knives after being critical of other makers. They look at what other makers do, and they put into their designs things that they particularly look for in a knife. And I find that that is a nice little adder to those that design their blades after going out in the public and making their thoughts known. So anyway, it's a cool little handle. I think I put a little bit of oil on the wood, but it looks really nice. The action feels good, even brand new. It's not totally drop shutty, obviously on bearings, but the flick is good, the detent's good, frame lock is very nice, and I am excited to add this one to my collection. Now let's throw in some size comparisons. Solaris, it's a almost as big, yeah, probably just as big as that, which I would consider that as a full-size knife, even maybe on the larger size side. Some comparison knives that you would normally see on channels. We got the Penguin, and you can see that that blade length is definitely longer than the Penguin. Handle's a little bit longer. You're going to be able to get your full grip on that handle. No forward choil that you could really use, but still has a nice length of handle to get a grip on, so I don't necessarily require that finger choil off the blade, off the back of the blade, unless it's so short that I can't really get all 4 fingers on it. So that's the Penguin in comparison. Here's another one. This is the Rat 1. A big knife, very well known as being a big knife. It is a little bit longer, a little bit bigger than the Cetus, but still, it doesn't dwarf it for sure. It's still up there in that size range. And then one last one that's very common. Hopefully everybody's familiar with at least one, if not more, of these knives. I got the PM2. And now we're talking about a very close comparison. Lengthwise, PM2 is a little taller. So this is a little bit more narrow. And I think that hollow kind of compensates a little bit. Whereas this has that flat grind that gets very, very slicey on it. This one is not as tall. So the flat would be more of a steeper increase in thickness. You get the flat in there, it kind of helps keep it thinner behind the edge, which is a great thing. Those are the comparisons. A couple more things. I'm just going to measure some of the pieces of the blade here. We got the blade. So that's a good 3.5-inch blade. It's, let's see if you can get it down a little bit lower so you can see it. So 3.5-inch blade, but the blade cutting edge is probably more like 3 3/8. But still, that's kind of in the range of what I like to see. 3.5 to 4 inch is what I really kind of prefer. But the handle is got a good 4 inches, easy. So that's not a problem. Thickness of the blade, I'm looking at somewhere around 1/8 of an inch, so that's pretty standard. The handle thickness, we're a little bit above half. So here's from the inch mark, we're up about maybe 1/16 of an inch over half. So what's that? That's 9/16. 9/16. That's a good thickness. So it's nice and solid. I could really feel like I got a good grip on this thing, and it doesn't feel like I'm having trouble holding on to it. Let's see. Yeah, overall length You just do the math, but it's basically an 8-inch long knife. So there it is. I really like this company. I recommend that you give them a chance, take a look at them. Maybe I'll be having this guy around on some other reviews later on after I really get a chance to handle it and see how I like it. But I know that right now I am excited, and I want to thank you guys for showing up for this video. I love your comments. Let me know what you think, and I will see you on the next one.